to you. You gave me food, clothes, and protection too. You said don't worry about a thing. Just show your loyalty. It's the comfort that you'll bring. When I look around, I got papers and passport working on my visa. I soon gonna be straight. Boss lady tell me send for family. She can clean me out and iron the clothes for me. Confidential, it's a confidential thing. This matter is serious. We don't know what it will bring. Confidential, we must regulate this thing. Confidential, we don't know what it will bring. Modern fishing key in Abaco, Exuma from Bahamas and Island. Now for the capital, South Michael Road, Carbon Road, now for Village and Coconut Grove. Community all over the place, disregarding this bohemian dream. Confidential, it's a confidential thing. This matter is serious. We don't know what it will bring. Confidential, we must regulate this thing. Confidential, we don't know what it will bring. Lord, 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 Lord. Oh yeah. All right. Now I have to talk down the street. I respect of a man I did not get insurance. Foreigners coming from all over, doing their own thing with a different culture. This thing been going on a little too long. We've got to take a stand for our native land. Say how much they love this Bahamas land, 'cause they all want to be Haitian Bohemian. Confidential, it's a confidential thing. This matter is serious. We don't know what it will bring. Confidential, we must regulate this thing. Confidential, we don't know what it will bring. Modern pension key.
Tonight, it's not only a battle on Bay, but a battle for tickets, as officials say Junkanoo tickets for prime seats are nearly sold out. Also, water issues continue to plague the island of Eleuthera. And later, a deal inked for public patients to be treated at private facilities. Eyewitness News starts now.
Eyewitness News is linked up by BTC. Whether it's chatting, gaming, content creating, or working smart to get things done, link up to stay connected with BTC.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Janae Noel. Thanks so much for joining us. We are live as Junkanoo tickets went live for the sale of over the weekend. Consumers flocking online and at the two locations announced to cop tickets for the most highly anticipated cultural event of the year. But many say they were left out of the process as only a certain grouping were able to purchase online or had time to get to a location before the preferred seats on Bay Street were sold out. Leah Cooper has more on this in our top story tonight.
Social media spun into a frenzy this weekend as rumors of the Boxing Day Junkanoo Parade's tickets being sold out made its rounds. A live Chief Information Officer, Dwayne Davis, telling Eyewitness News tonight that this couldn't be further from the truth.
Certain sections, and historically, Roswell Square, North and South, Scotia Bank, North and South, are normally all sold out, as you know. And that section, I, J, K, and L. But it's important for Bahamas to know Junkanoo is from Frederick Street, from Frederick Street, all the way up to East Street. So yes, the areas that persons want may be sold out, but it's important to know that we've sold over 2,500 tickets thus far, with the majority of them going online. So of course, There's only a limited amount of seating in Roslyn Square, but Junkanoo is not sold out as yet.
Now, iPhone users may be put at a disadvantage because the company's entertainment app, which allows customers to purchase parade tickets, is not yet available for iOS devices. Mr. Davis gives an update in that regard.
For all of our Apple users, we're still working very closely with Apple to release the app in the iOS so that you too can enjoy the Junkanoo experience. And we're hoping that Apple will be able to release that app for us by tomorrow. We were hoping for yesterday, but we continue to get questions and more responses from Apple because their security is a lot more tighter than Google for apps into their store.
Some iPhone users express their concerns.
I don't think that it should have been released without, the Apple users being able to have access to it. Other than that, it was slightly confusing as to when we'll be able to purchase tickets. I'm used to going to Norfolk House and get my tickets through there, but I could see the progress forward, but this year it didn't hit the mark.
Because after all, I'm an Alive customer, so how is it that you only have the app available for Android users or not iPhone users?
Others opted to come in store rather than use the app, but still expressed some concerns with the process.
Well, I prefer to sit anywhere across the street from Scotia, that's First Caribbean, but I was able to get seats by the Royal Bank of Canada, so that's okay.
It was a bit of up and down because we were not quite sure where to go to purchase tickets, and so I decided to go to Bay Street, probably old Norfolk House. I asked 3 policemen on Bay Street, where can I buy these Junkanoo tickets, and they couldn't answer me. I mean, my Scotiabank seats are gone, but I'm excited to get what I was able to get.
I figured there could be a little improvement with the apps and how it was planned for us to access and download. But in the end, all is good. We were able to come to the place, to the venue, physically, and get it done.
Now, while there were a few hiccups in the process, Alive CIO chalks it all up to growing pains and assures that the company is working to rectify the issues. Leah.
Thanks, Leah. Well, Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Mario Boleg, responding to the public's concerns, he clarified that the JCMP is responsible for the sale of tickets, also noting that due to the change in the process and the use of technology, some unfortunately were not able to get the seats they preferred. He, however, said that some tickets are still available, and he's encouraging the public to continue to support the event.
I understand that it's been we all know, that it's been a 2-3 year hiatus, and that definitely the nation would want to come on and attend Junkanoo after being off Bay Street for so long. The responsibility of the sales of the ticket is under the powers of the JCMP and not the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. I know that they're doing their best to bring things to do innovative ideas and ways off this platform along with Alive to ensure that persons have an opportunity to purchase tickets from their comfort of their home. Now, as it relates to persons having a difficulty, I can't speak to that, but I don't know if they're able to see the access of what is available as seats concerned. But I'm sure that I've been advised that there are some locations off Alive that they can go to and purchase the hard copy tickets. And so I'm understanding that there has been some frustration, but I'm sure if they reach out to the powers to be at Live, they will be able to ensure that whatever is available, they can get their seats.
Well, in news from the crime beat tonight, police say that 2 men on their way to the airport on Saturday morning were reportedly robbed by men dressed as police officers. Now, the victims were driving after 6 a.m. when they were stopped by a gray car that reportedly had blue and white flashing lights. According to police, 2 men reportedly exited that vehicle dressed like police officers, equipped with flashlights and shotguns. Now, the men reportedly robbed the victims of their phones, suitcases, and wallets, and then fled south on Gladstone Road. Now, anyone with information on this matter is asked to contact police, and police are also reminding the public that all police cars are equipped with a siren and blue and red lights, and that altering the colors of a vehicle light is punishable by law. Well, in other news tonight, a man who alleges he was thrown to the pavement face first and had a knife held to his neck by a police officer was awarded $103,000 in damages by the court last week. Appearing before Senior Justice Injured Charles, Lyndon Saunders says he was beaten by officers during an altercation back in September of 2018. Now, according to Saunders, he was riding his motorcycle on Prince Charles Drive when he encountered a traffic accident. Now, when officers asked him to stop while driving on the sidewalk, Saunders was then arrested after he and the officers reportedly got into a back and forth, resulting in the officer putting his knee to the neck of the man and using obscene language. Now, after hearing both sides, Justice Charles said she believed the officers distorted the true account of the day in question and ruled that Saunders' arrest and 30-hour detention were unlawful and called the use of force by officers unreasonable. Saunders was awarded some $35,000 as the successful party, $80,000 in damages for assault, battery, and false imprisonment, $15,000 for breach of his constitutional rights, and $8,000 in special damages for injuries to his hand, his mouth, and also the loss of his teeth. Well, the Minister of National Security says he's not aware of a large amount of officers wanting to leave the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, nor concerns expressed by the Marines on harsh working conditions. Eyewitness News understands that over 300 officers have applied to be discharged from the force, but the process has reportedly been prolonged. Devontae Hanna has both sides tonight.
National Security Minister Wayne Munro is doubling down on a statement made by the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commodore that the force is seeing normal attrition levels.
I have not seen any increase in the number of officers who are resigning coming across my desk.
Munro's comments came on the sidelines of an event in the wake of swirling concerns from Marines who spoke to us under anonymity and told us that they are dissatisfied with working conditions at the organization's Coral Harbor base, beginning with the food.
I mean, we're not asking for the most luxury of foods, but at least, proper nutrition. We've gotten food like meat prepared that was raw or uncooked or not finished cooking. Very weird combinations.
This photo obtained by Eyewitness News shows what we understand to be a regular meal for Marines: French fries, barbecue ribs, and corn, which could be substituted for chicken and a roll.
We shouldn't be consuming too much fried foods and a bunch of starchy foods. We rarely get fruits and vegetables. But yet they like to complain about the Marines out of shape.
This, as we understand, the meal budget was cut down to $3 per Marine. However, Munro says he was not made aware of dissatisfactory working conditions on the base.
If they are dissatisfied, they ought to say. A month ago, I met with all of the ranks on the base. Juniors, seniors, warrant officers, junior and senior officers. Nobody has put anything before me when I was down there to indicate great dissatisfaction. So I would have to be told what that is.
Marines suggest they shy away from voicing their concerns because there is no protection for them as officers on the Defense Force, as they are not represented by a union or association, unlike other armed forces.
And I'm specifically meaning the leaders, not just not everybody in the force, but just specifically the leaders. I don't believe they take us seriously. There's really no respect or no boundary in place, so they just do us however they feel. This is supposed to be an organization of discipline and so forth. But our leaders, they pick and choose when they want to be disciplined and when they want to be slack.
And the National Security Minister revealing that if a Marine wishes to be discharged, he or she is replaceable.
If they are soldiers and they no longer wish to be soldiers, and we discharge them, then we will look for 200, 300 good Bahamians who want to replace them. Every recruitment exercise we do, we recruit 100. We have about 500 applications.
However, back in August, at the end of the last recruitment exercise, Commodore Dr. Raymond King revealed that there are currently 1,900 officers working, but noted that ideally officials would like 3,000, bringing to light a manpower issue facing the force. Devontae Hanna, Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Devontae. Meantime, residents on the island of Eleuthera continue to experience issues with potable water, and officials from the Water and Sewage Corporation say they've been experiencing severe challenges in the production, storage, and distribution of water due to the disruptions with the reverse osmosis plant on that island. In response, the MP for the area, Sylvanus Petty, distributed hundreds of bottled water and used water tanks to bring relief to some customers in that area. Water was brought to the medically challenged, disabled, and the elderly in the supply zone affected areas. Well, Chairman of the Opposition, Dr. Dwayne Sands, weighing in on the Eleuthera water issue, noting that while the government has acknowledged the problem, the timeline given for the solution is unacceptable. The Minister of Works and Utilities, Alfred Sayers, has gone on record to say that the Water and Sewage Corporation will execute a $2.7 million contract for $2 million gallon tanks and should be ready by mid-next year to combat issues on that island.
You have people that don't have water to flush the toilet, don't have water to cook, can't bathe. When the government starts giving out 5-gallon bottles of water, it's too little, too late. It's a clear example of misplaced priorities. So you're talking about an administration which has forecasted expenditure higher than any previous year in the history of the Bahamas. Okay, let's start with that. The government that can find money to travel all over the friggin' world. Okay? But something as basic as running water, they can't solve the problem.
Well, Dr. Sands continuing to criticize government for not prioritizing running water, road work, and affordable electricity for the Bahamian people. He also commented on the recent opening of the Andre Rogers Baseball Stadium with a price tag that ballooned to some $60 million to complete. And while he understands making the investment in the country's sports culture is important, he questions if the stadium will be properly maintained to continue to generate revenue.
You have to create an edifice to the ego of the minister and throw $60 million in the ground so it could lose money and probably not be maintained. Now, I'm going to ask you whether you could have done something a little bit different for far less cost and still accomplish the same thing, right? It is unacceptable now for an administration which has been in since September of 2021 to still be saying we can soon get to it, we can soon fix it. Go out and identify replacement tanks, get the situation resolved.
Well, the government has terminated more than 10 leases that house several government ministries. Laurencia Smith has more on this.
The Ministry of the Public Service, who serves as the landlord for government, by the end of the year will terminate well over $2 million in leases. Public Service State Minister Pia Glover-Roll sharing this much with us today, while adding that the termination process has been seamless as they have been working closely with the Office of the Attorney General.
By the end of the year, between properties that would have been disengaged or will be coming to an end, we will average about $2.7 million in savings, which is small, but it's something that is a savings, and any savings is good.
The minister stressed that the government's main objective is to have public servants working in a healthy and safe environment to aid with productivity.
So some buildings we're having mold issues, rodent issues. Of course, the landlords are responsible for maintaining the buildings, and in instances where we see leases may be coming to an end or buildings are in disrepair, we've sought to disengage those type properties.
Glover-Roll could not name the government buildings which leases have been terminated.
An average of about 12 buildings have been disengaged in this process since we came into office up until what will be about the end of the year. The properties so far have been, the majority of the properties actually have been in New Providence, with a few in the Family Islands.
Government does not intend to add any additional leases, but moving forward, consolidate several ministries.
Moving the ministries that would have been in one location to another at this time. So you will see pretty much the same ministries that we would move going into new facilities. That is the process that we're engaging.
Laurencia Smith, Eyewitness News.
Well, more than 1,000 individuals currently engaged in the government's Professional Engagement Program, or PEP. State Minister for Public Service, Pia Glover-Rose, says she's pleased with its progress and the partnership involving more than 20 companies.
Was the engagement of the disabled or the differently abled community that is going extremely well. Those persons were engaged by a private partner, Alive, and in checking in with them, the process was seamless. They're working and they're doing a great job. We have in total about 1,300 participants across the country that have been engaged in the Public Service Professional Engagement Program, and we've held 3 orientation processes because of that group that has been engaged to ensure that we're setting our participants up to win, that we're saying to them on the onset as they're onboarded what the expectations are, what the policies are, what procedures they will need to engage, what should they expect along the line in terms of the 52 weeks, and at the end what their expectation and what the public services expectation would be of them.
Well, Glover-Rose says that the program started in September of this year and up until the last pay period of the last month. Now, she added that the new minimum wage increase applies to members of the program as well. Now, here's what she had to say about encouraging young people to join the service.
For transforming and reforming the public service, and you're correct. The public service was, I remember my parents were career public servants, and it was the ideal job to have. Over the course of the decades, you've seen maybe the standard that has been held kind of diminish. A lot of people have given many reasons why they think. They think it's lack of good customer service. They think it's lack of the proper benefits being in place to retain. So we're looking at those components to see how we can rebuild and transform the public service to, again, be the creme de la creme in terms of who we attract.
Well, the U.S. Department of Justice seeking an independent examination into the collapse of STX, this being revealed in a court filing on Thursday following the crypto giant, which is headquartered here in the Bahamas, filing for bankruptcy after a liquidity crisis last month. In the filing, the trustee, Andrew Vera, says he believes an examiner should investigate the substantial and serious allegations of fraud, dishonesty, incompetence, and mismanagement that led to the collapse. He went on to note that the examination is preferable to an internal investigation because the findings will be made public, which he says is important because of the significance of the company's collapse to the crypto industry. Still no word from the former CFO to Bahamian media. Well, if you've got a news tip, or if you've seen news in the making, call the Ion News hotline at 397-6397. We also invite you to send your letters to the editor for publication on all of our social media platforms at Eyewitness News Bahamas at gmail.com. And if you're watching on our Facebook or YouTube page, share your thoughts about today's stories in the comments section. We want to hear from you. We're just getting started in Eyewitness News, but when we come back, PMH needing some outside help as they undergo some necessary renovations. We've got that story coming up. And later, Family Island residents exhausted with the state of ATMs in their communities. More on that right after this break.
This segment of the news is sponsored by Corona, distributed in the Bahamas by Jimmy's Wines and Spirits.
Welcome back. Here's a look at your Eyewitness News gas tracker. Esso, $6.07. Rubis, $5.87. And Shell, $5.95. Well, a group of patients from the Princess Margaret Hospital being transferred today to Doctors Hospital, Blake Road, for care for the next 14 weeks. It's an arrangement Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville revealed will cost government in excess of $2 million as PMH undergoes mass renovations to its medical block. In a press conference yesterday, Dr. Darville doubled down on the necessity of this arrangement, adding that he feels the cost is reasonable.
This particular process is almost a gift of love because there's a substantial reduction in the cost necessary for us to be able to accomplish this particular transference. We estimate the 14-week negotiated cost factors will be somewhere between $2 million to $2.5 million, which we believe is very reasonable when we take into consideration the cost of managing the same patient load here at the Princess Margaret Hospital.
Meantime, the director of the Public Hospitals Authority, Arbonette Roll, is seeking to defend the decision to outsource patient care at Doctors Hospital. She notes that hospital officials are now in a stage of mitigation after being made aware of complaints of worsening conditions from Bahamians about the public healthcare facility for years.
The minister and I have walked and looked for any place that was comparable to be able to deliver the following: accommodations, food for staff and patients, laboratory services, imaging or x-ray services, physical therapy, respiratory therapy, and also to meet our numbers of 51. There was only one person that we were able to partner this to deliver the entire product. We can't have patients to a facility and then be transferring blood and food back and forth.
Well, imagine having to drive over an hour to your nearest ATM only to be met with either a long line or a machine fresh out of cash. That's what residents on Andros and many family islands have had to deal with on a day-to-day basis, making doing business on the island far from easy. Leah Cooper has more on this.
Residents on the island of Andros express concerns over the lack of access to ATM machines. Residents from North Andros tell us that this has been an inconvenience, causing them to sometimes drive for hours just to conduct a simple transaction.
There is one ATM on the entire island, and it's only replenished 3 times a week. Persons drive 70 plus miles from the furthest point on the island to get there, and at gas being almost $8 in some places, it's a real expense to get cash. And then when you reach, there's no money left because everybody, especially around payday, everybody's trying to get there to get cash. It's ridiculous.
It's inconvenient because I have to ride from Cattle Creek to North Island. That's about almost an hour and a half, depends on how fast I drive it. And when you reach there, the line is so long, you have to wait maybe another hour or 2 just to get through.
Another resident adds that in some instances, tempers flare because of the long wait time, as was the case a few weeks ago where an altercation erupted and went viral on social media. That said, business owners and residents alike have had to get creative.
It's rather difficult, especially like if you need, some gas stations don't take cards, so if you need gas, it could be hard. You borrow money, you switch money from one person's bank account to another. If you have a online banking, and then you have some of the older residents. They go to the administrator's office. Sometimes they'll get cash back from there, but it's really it's unregulated. It's difficult. It all depends. Some persons I know, they make a trip to NASA to get money.
Business owners in South Andros also expressed their concerns.
With one ATM between us and Mangrove Key, it's kind of difficult because when Mangrove Key has 2 banking days, we have 2 banking days. And to do a deposit, we can't do it through the ATM. We have to tow a line.
They put up
They put up an ATM, but what they did, they went backwards with it. Because there's no way in the world, after waiting so long, we waited for an ATM and they give us one. We are not allowed to do deposits in it. So it's one of those old actual ATMs. So the real problem at the bank is the lack of tellers and the deposit rate. You know, because most businesses over here, they go to deposit. So you find yourself in a sometimes 3 to 4 hour wait just to do a deposit, which I think is garbage. You know what I mean?
This business owner voices the improvements he'd like to see moving forward.
I think we need another ATM, but I actually could do deposits. As a matter of fact, we need two, and because they could take the old one and just give us one way could give us two, we could do deposits, and they could send us we need at least 2 more tellers. They operate it so backwards that it causes a ripple effect, meaning you got the staff that works in South Andres is entirely from Mangrove Key. So here it's not. If weather is bad, you know, they won't be able to make it that day, and we only have 2 days. Even so, because they catch the ferry. So that'll be another downfall when you see weather bad, hurricane, and you can't travel like that, or even so, holidays. You know, and I feel like we could actually have a full staff where we could open up 5 days of the week here in South Andres and let Mangrove Key do the same.
Eyewitness News tried to reach out to the managing director of Scotiabank for response. However, they were unavailable for comment up to news time. Leah Cooper, Eyewitness News.
Well, with May 2023 as the tentative deadline for when the multi-million-dollar Nassau cruise port will be completed, and with a number of amenities, including a shopping area expected to sell only authentic Bahamian goods, straw vendors at the famous downtown straw market react tonight on what this could mean for their bottom line.
As long as you have an advertisement saying that you have more than one market, see, everybody will make money. As long as you have a sign saying straw market, there's that.
I feel like they coming to them first, but I still believe what God up for you, you still will get. As a matter of fact, we get McDonald's, we got Wendy, we got Kentucky, and everybody, they still making.
It will. It will. Because if they have the same thing we have. But I mean, everybody has to live, so.
Well, on Friday past, during the tour of the port, the nation's chief expressed to port executives what he'd like to see between the two shopping areas.
And let me carry the argument further. We want as little. We don't. The Nassau straw market is a historical site, and competition with that has to be fair.
No, for sure.
And so we need to. So we need to drive some of those people to the straw market, and they wouldn't be driven there if you're selling straw here too.
Well, High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, Alison Greenslade, officially ending his mission, according to Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell, who in a social media post thanked Greenslade for his service to country. Greenslade was the 6th Commissioner of Police Force until October 2017. Shortly after that assignment, he took up residence in London, where he served for the past 5 years. Now, in a statement, Greenslade was commended for his diligence, dignity, and respect during his term. He also served as a non-resident High Commissioner to Italy, France, Sweden, Malta, Ireland, and also Greece. Still to come in Eyewitness News tonight, prices are dropping for a seasonal delicacy. We've got more on that. But first, here's a check on tonight's weather forecast.
This portion of the news is brought to you by J.S. Johnson, Insurance Agents and Brokers, giving you peace of mind.
A live look tonight over Saunders Beach, where the temperature is right around 75 degrees with an expected dip to 72. This is Eyewitness News. Welcome back. Well, Bahamian fishermen are facing a number of challenges tonight with putting food on the table. Recently, this much from the National Fishers Association, who reveals that the price per pound of lobster has plummeted. Tyler Simonet tells us why in this report.
Some Bahamian fishermen may not survive the season as the price of lobster tails has plunged nearly 50% this year. Paul Malis, founder and director of the National Fishers Association, reveals that many fishermen invested heavily into their lobster operations due to last year's high price, but now their risk has turned unprofitable.
Last year was a great season for lobster fishermen in general. The COVID had eliminated a lot of our external competition, and the prices in the international market were much higher than average. So a lot of fishermen had gotten used to the high price, and it was generally believed to be on the increase because of the fact that the world was coming out of the recession, coming out of the COVID lockdowns, and we expected the price to be a little bit up from what it had been before. But now what we're experiencing is a dramatic decrease back to below prices that we'd become accustomed to over the years.
According to Malis, some seafood processors are paying fishermen $10 to $15 per pound for lobster, while last year the prices were upwards of $20. He cites this issue as a result of the market being flooded.
Because of how profitable the lobster fishery was last year and the year before, a lot of new players entered into the market in South America, and then we have the restoration of some of our original competitors from the west coast of the United States, from Australia, from South Africa, producing a lot of tails, and the market is probably become a bit saturated with lobster tails. And then we're also hearing information that the lobster fishery in South Florida, we are hearing is that the Chinese have pretty much cut off the live lobster export from Florida. So those fishermen probably are having to resort to tailing their lobsters and selling frozen lobster tails. So that's flooding the market of what the Bahamas already supplies, which is pretty much exclusively frozen lobster tails.
Now, not only are Bahamian fishermen still reeling from the plummeting price of lobster, but poaching remains a huge issue. Malis reveals that Bahamians are poaching in their own waters, and many foreign vessels are taking advantage of the law and posing as tourists.
But we are still continuously going through the issue of the American charter pleasure poachers that come here. They catch fish under the guise of being charter fishermen or tourists, and they take large amounts of commercial fish back to restaurants and suppliers in America in violation of their own laws. We always have to keep striving to improve the enforcement mechanism. And then, at the end of the day, we still have local Bahamian poachers too, people who don't observe the law, people that have no regard for their fellow countrymen and just do whatever they want.
Attempts to reach Minister of Agriculture, Marine Resources and Family Island Affairs Clay Sweeting were unsuccessful up to news time. However, the NFA is scheduled to have a meeting with him this week. Tyler Simonet, Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Tyler. Well, still to come in Eyewitness News tonight, our Randy Smith has the latest from the Sportsplex. Good evening, Randy.
Janaea, Team Bahamas opened things up at the Andre Rogers National Stadium on a winning note. Hear more about it coming up in Eyewitness Sports.
Comfort Suites
This segment of the news is brought to you by Hennessy, the spirit of sports in the Bahamas. Good evening, everyone. I'm Randy Smith, and welcome to Eyewitness Sports. Setting off tonight, Team Bahamas opened the new Andre Rogers National Stadium and the 2022 Caribbean Cup on a winning note. Kristen Monroe scored off a Toby Simmons sacrifice fly in the bottom of the 8th to give the Bahamas a 4-3 win over the U.S. Virgin Islands. Team Bahamas is back in action tonight against Curacao. Prime Minister Davis was on hand for the opening of the event, and he talked about the development of baseball locally.
Now that we have upgraded our facilities to world-class standards, I anticipate that the Bahamas will become a nexus in the regional baseball arena. The stadium has now positioned the Bahamas as a primary destination for more sports tourism and underpins our Sports in Paradise brand.
The boys are so happy to see all their friends and family and just people from their country just come to support them. I mean, I wish I could play in this tournament myself, but it's a little bit of allegations that I can't do that. So at the end of the day, I just here to support and have fun with everybody else. Y'all enjoy the tournament.
In track and field news, the B3As hosted its election of officers this weekend. Jamaica Archer was re-elected as president. Foster Dorset was first VP, John Ingram second VP, and Sheldon Longley was named the VP of Public Relations.
I'm particularly pleased that we have a brand new administrative team. And though they are new, I think many of them have been in similar roles before, and so the acumen of their respective roles are at the highest level. I have very, very high hopes for this executive team, and I believe that the mandate that we will have for the next 4 years will be one that will put us at the very top of the administrative history of our federation.
And on the heels of last week's Legends Walk honoring, former Olympic sprinter and Oral Roberts University assistant coach Andretti Bain says there has to be more consistency regarding honoring athletes. Bain says he wants to take nothing away from those athletes honored, but feels that there are many athletes that have been skipped over for years and still have not been recognized.
Like, think about this. Think about Avad Monta, who was the first individual 400-meter champion. First individual 400-meter champion at World Championships. How could Avad Monta not be considered a legend? When I go down the list, Troy Kemp, Donald Thomas, Trevor Barry, we get Christian Armitil, who bridged the gap between Tony Williams-Darling and Shawnee Miller-Rebo. The 2009 women's 4x1 silver medalist at World Champs with Shaniqua Ferguson, all of those great women athletes that we have. From 2000 to 2016, all of the World Championships and Olympic medals that the Bahamas men's 4x4 relay team would have won. I see there are athletes there who basically are just professionals or became professionals in their sport. Track and field, there's no gray area. We have loads of professional track and field athletes, but what separates the greats from others are the Olympic and World Championship medalists. I'm speaking for all of the other athletes who are well deserving of it. And we look at the athletes who are selected. And again, I don't want to take anything away from anyone. I cannot recognize and honor those who would have achieved less than the ones that you left off.
Well, that does it for us in sports, but stay tuned. Eyewitness News continues in a moment. I'm Randy Smith. Have a great evening.
Eyewitness News.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, scores of students from science, education, technology, and math programs in the country getting the opportunity to board a major cruise liner as a part of an effort to give those STEM students more hands-on experience in this field. Our Jose Etienne was aboard the ship with the students today and gives us a closer look.
Some 80 students who are a part of a local STEM of the Ocean boarding Wonder of the Seas cruise ship today to be exposed to the operations of the cruise ship while also getting a first-hand look at the various professional paths that relate to STEM.
We brought them on board to have a trip and really see all of the things that they've done in action when you do learn STEM and all the different jobs that you could have. So we're going to take them on tours with the environmental officer, go to our Venture Ocean program and see our production team, and go and have a little fun on our Abyss, our big slide and such. But all of this together is what you, with a STEM career, you can apply to any of the jobs that we have on board.
This initiative is being spearheaded by the Pan American Health Organization, and they sought to have a hands-on approach.
What we're doing here today is a show of that. It's a culmination of a work that they've been doing all throughout this semester, where they have been learning about the ocean, about what are safety tips for a ship, what are the parts of a ship, what are native species, how can they take better care of the environment. So it's connecting the ocean, which is what surrounds them, with their future as well.
Environment Minister Vaughn Miller asserts that taking this approach with students in the STEM for the Ocean program will bode well for the environment in the long haul.
And we need as many as we can produce. And so the fact that they've been exposed to the topics in this area very early in their development, I think it only works for that. I hope they continue it and they're consistent with it. And I think it's particularly for the Ministry of Environment, for our environment, because that's why cruise ships come to the Bahamas, because of our waters, our beaches. Our environment is very attractive to that. If we lose that edge, we lose the industry, we lose the business.
Accompanying the Environment Minister was State Minister for Education, Zane Lightburn, and he's hoping that today's tour would spark interest in other students to consider this program.
We're looking for more students to get involved in the maritime industry, in sustainable learning and living and development. And so opportunities like this and the investment involved for them is things that we are very, very proud of.
Meet Martha McFall. She's the director for the STEM program in the country. She says today's tour on the Royal Caribbean Cruise Line ship is a part of the innovative approach that she's implementing in the STEM program in country to keep students engaged.
Lawyers, they want to be the engineers. They want to go deeper into STEM. We have bright children, but because of our education, they are bored. And so the STEM has come along to enhance the curriculum. STEM is saying, we want to challenge your students, give them to us. We're going to give them the science, the technology, the engineering, and the math. We're going to make them brilliant students, and we're going to have fun while we teach them.
Jose Etienne, Eyewitness News.
Thanks, Jose. Well, that wraps up news this Monday. But coming up and Beyond the Headlines with Shanique Miller, she discusses more of that water issue in Eleuthera. That's coming up and Beyond the Headlines. It starts right after this. That does it for us here at Eyewitness News. It's certainly been a pleasure having you in our company tonight. On behalf of the entire news team, I'm Janae Noel saying good night and be safe, everyone.
Desire to live the Bahamian
Public Hospitals Authority donated 16,000 children's masks and 2,016 sanitizers to the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training for public school students. Accepting the donation from Siobhan Burrows, PHA's Acting Assistant Director of Warehouse and Distribution, during the brief ceremony held at the Ali Dumont Building, was the Minister of State, Zane Lightman, who noted that health remains the #1 priority.
It is not hand in hand or equally important. The health is even more important because unless our children are healthy, we know that they cannot learn. And so if we are going to make our country safe, our country grow, the future of our country needs to be properly educated, and you cannot overstate the importance of these items, the importance of a partnership with the Public Hospitals Authority and all of our government agencies and coming together to assure that as best as possible, our children can safely receive a quality education. And so we thank you. We continue to ask partners to take a page out of the book of Public Hospitals Authority and let us have more partnerships when it comes to our children education. That includes parents, that includes private sector, non-government organizations, and definitely all of the government agencies coming together to make this thing we call education a success.
The masks and sanitizers will be distributed to all schools throughout the Bahamas. For Air Talk, I'm Vaughn Albury.
The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Alive, still connected, still with you.
It's been roughly 2 years and the rush for Junkanoo tickets is heating up. Now many are saying they're unable to access tickets online. We hear from Sports Minister Mario Boleg. The Road to 50 is activated. On Saturday, thousands of people, including Prime Minister Davis, poured onto Bay Street for the first official event to mark the country's Golden Jubilee, the 50th anniversary of independence. We have some highlights for you. Residents on Eleuthera are having water issues again. What are officials saying? Well, we tell you. It's Monday, all hot topics, all show. It's great to have you along this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. We get started with Junkanoo. The drawing and order of both parades was held at the weekend. On Boxing Day, the Saxon superstars will get out of the gate first. As you might imagine, the anticipation for the parades is at an all-time high. Tickets are going fast, and spectators and Junkanoo enthusiasts are excited to get back on the stands and cheer on their favorite Junkanoo group. That rush and excitement for tickets is apparently causing some issues accessing tickets for many. We spoke with Sports Minister Mario Boleg today.
I understand that it's been we all know, that it's been a 2-3 year hiatus, and that definitely the nation would want to come on and attend Junkanoo after being off Bay Street for so long. The responsibility of the sales of the ticket is under the powers of the JCNP and not the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture. I know that they are doing their best to bring things to do innovative ideas and ways of this platform along with Alive to ensure that persons have an opportunity to purchase tickets from their comfort of their home. Now, as it relates to persons having a little difficulty, I can't speak to that. But I don't know if they're able to see the access of what is available as seats concerned. But I'm sure that I've been advised that there are some locations off Alive that they can go to and purchase the hard copy tickets. And so I'm understanding that there has been some frustration, but I'm sure if they reach out to the powers to be there live, they will be able to ensure that whatever is available, they can get their seats.
Well, we're going to start right there this evening. And so I want to welcome to the show the Hot Topics panel. I have a talk show host here and also our Beyond the Headlines contributors. So welcome, gentlemen, to the show. It's great to have you both here. Cassius Stewart, Howard Grant. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome, Shanique. I ain't seen you in a long time, Shanique.
No, it's been a minute. It's been a minute, Cassius.
I miss you.
Yeah, well, that is so sweet of him. You know, he was
you
out of the...
You didn't want to tell me you missed me privately. I can tell you I missed you publicly.
Well, I missed you too, Cassius. I missed you. He was out the country, Howard, and I tell you, when he come here with the hands swinging, you know the song.
How you know?
Yeah, well, you ain't showing me
Check
nothing.
the door.
Okay, y'all, let's just move. Let's just, because I know he came in the whole property with the sand swinging. That's all I have to say.
I got out the door.
Okay, then I hope so, because that iPhone, you know what I mean about that little thing.
iPhone 14.
iPhone 14, that part right there. Yes, absolutely. Gentlemen, let's just get right into it. You heard Sports Minister Mario Boleg a moment ago say, listen, the running, particularly when it comes to the tickets and that kind of thing, and I imagine the management of the parades is the JCNP and not the ministry, his ministry. This is, as again, humps and bumps and twists and turns continue to happen with the tickets. People, of course, figured, and I understand it may be iPhone users, but we're having issues accessing tickets online. As he mentioned, you cannot see what's available, where it's available. People now want the luxury of doing business, any type of business, but let's say in this instance, obviously, accessing and purchasing their Junkanoo tickets online in the comfort of their own homes. How do we even begin to explain this? After this hiatus, you know, it's been roughly 2 years or more because of the pandemic, and we're just getting out. Shouldn't these things have been addressed and properly sort of, I guess, worked out, and maybe a little rehearsal and all that stuff to ensure that these little hiccups didn't exist?
I got a telephone call maybe about 2.5, 3 weeks ago about this idea that tickets have gone up about 30-some%, right? So they started to talk to me about the fact that the tickets have gone up. And then they said, okay, for the only way that you can be able to access those tickets, the JCNP has given all this opportunities for, you know, purchase and whatnot has gone directly through a live. And for you to be able to access those things, you have to have a live app. And so the consideration has not been for the persons on the other network to be able to do these things. And then beyond that, it's only for persons who actually have the Android as opposed to the Apple. Mm-hmm. So the iOS, they haven't created a second app for that. All right, so you need to have two apps. You have to have the Android app and the iOS app. There's two different applications for you to be able to do those things. So I believe it's going to be very difficult. I understand that the minister in his piece just now started to talk to us about being able to get a hard copy. Mm-hmm. But in this day and age, in this kind of a space that we're in, if you're giving us something on these platforms, you're going to have to create built-in accessibility for persons to be able to get it. Because there's no need for you to be able to create a space and say, okay, hey, listen, you can get your tickets online. Well, maybe you can't get all your tickets online. You gotta, you gotta make up your mind. You get some of your tickets online. You gotta make up your mind. And you're asking for your iPhone 13 now, so you'll never get your tickets.
You get an iPhone
14. You'll never get your ticket.
That ticket will be scheduled for January 6th.
You'll get it then.
After 2023 New Year's Day parade.
Yeah.
Cassius, you know, and as Howard broke it down, because he said he was informed weeks ago about what the kinks are. It really is unacceptable. I mean, people nowadays are trying as best they can to do business face to face. In terms of having to go and do that exchange, that monetary exchange, where they can least avoid it, they're trying to do that. This really should not be an issue.
See, on the road to digitalization, we've been very slow. We've been behind the 8 ball. COVID-19 came, and that should have propelled us further than we are. After COVID-19, we're still back to where we started. We still have not digitalized the entire country. I mean, I know that the central bank with their digital currency is moving forward. I know that they're really trying other platforms as well too, but we should have already put in place to make sure that we could properly have access to digital transactions, whether digital currency, e-tickets and so on, because when you even look at the schools, you know, we've had the issue with the online portal was a catastrophe. But, you know, even though after COVID, we should still be developing those things now, because you never know when the opportunity or the problem may exist again. And so we have to move forward quickly to be able to digitalize and use those applications for e-tickets. And so But for us to be right back to where we started before COVID-19 is really a sign that we have not learned. And, the learning curve was too steep for us. And we fell down the hill instead of going back over the hump.
Yeah, but the entire country has been waiting for this kind of an idea for COVID to be over. I remember, and I won't sit here on your show, Shanique, and actually start to speak to organizations who have done their absolute best. I thought it was a crying shame when established organizations who have been able to rake in millions and millions and millions annually, when we had to move toward a digital platform and try to be able to find something, they'd say, well, go to our WhatsApp. There's a number for WhatsApp. You can get these things. And then we call you and send you a picture. What are you doing? There are people in our country that create apps. There are people in our, but talk to me, this is a whole job for me. I create these things, my consultancy, and I'm sure Cassius has the same access to be able to do those things.
I'm doing it, stay tuned.
And you're doing it. There are people who are eager to get into this next space to provide you an opportunity to get into this era, this dimension, this time that we're in. You can't sit here and wait to go, oh, please let COVID over so we can go back to the ball and chain of the, no, we want accessibility.
And stand on long lines. Remember those days? Stand on long lines to get this ticket or anything else. Like you're saying, no, you've moved on, and there are people now who can so ably provide the service.
Listen, big, decent companies raking millions annually in this country said to us, well, go to our WhatsApp, here is the WhatsApp number, and then we'll get back to you. 3-4 days later, you haven't gotten these things. What is it to take someone to be able to create an app for you, to take some pictures, so forth and so on? So once we're seeing the GCNP take on a position to identify how we can be able to be swift in accessing these things, I still think, I agree with you, Cassius, I still believe that we're still significantly behind the 8 ball, and there is much room for us to do some improvement.
I mean, when you look at how small our country is, the amount of resources, we have a high bandwidth coming into the country.
Yeah.
We're a very successful country in terms of, and we have smart people. Just about everybody have an iPhone or some kind of smartphone. That's a sign that we can get it done. The problem is that we are not doing it. And so what it also say is it's a demand for people in the private sector to step up. It's not so much leaning on the government to do it. It's me, you, and Shanique coming up with an idea to be able to come up with e-tickets for Junkanoo, come up with e-tickets for the movies, come up with e-tickets on an app. And so but also it's like the private sector, the people in the private sector is slow to move. We are the ones, when somebody do it, then I'll copy that, but nobody comes up with original ideas. And so
I had a concept about this, and I don't know if you want to follow me. I don't know whether or not, and I suppose we can talk about this later, but is it the traditionalists? Is it those persons that are not necessarily a part of this era and a part of these particular things? Is it those persons who still show up to the meeting with a yellow pad that controls the monies in our country that says, okay, well, this isn't necessarily, we don't necessarily need to move in this direction? Where is this kind of this blockage from us being able to access that?
You'd be very surprised, Howard, and Cassius, you're going to jump in a second, but you'd be very surprised. I don't think it's the traditionalists, which you were trying to say are the more mature among us. I think it's many of us who still show up with the notepad and who haven't moved to technology. Should we all be forced to at the same time? I don't know, but I mean, obviously there's a huge demand for it and it must take place.
Yeah.
But I don't think, Cassius, that is necessarily the more mature people who are stenching.
No, I don't want to knock them. I only want to know that I know that there is a blockage. All right. If we look at the demographics in our country, we know that younger persons don't necessarily have the credit cards, they don't have finances, they don't have these particular things. So when you create these apps, though the young people may have telephones and access to those things, they don't have the finances to purchase. So who are you creating these things for? Is your product designed specifically to hit a particular demo? I need to know, because I'm looking at the entire layout and I know that there is a blockage here and we need to move forward.
Well, Howard, I think what is fundamentally the problem we're having issue is that, we need to be able to get more into the digital space. I don't think, though, I think if we could speak to the private sector, individuals who are sitting in their couch, who got this great idea, people who are listening to us and say, I have this idea. Don't wait for the government to put the idea into practice.
I agree with you.
See, what happened is that we've been so leaning to the government that the government should.
Yes.
It's the private sector that makes it work. It's like, it's the Jeff Bezos who was in his garage who came up with Amazon. It's the Steve Jobs who was in his garage who came up with Apple. And so if you're in your garage now, you could come up with the app to be able to solve these problems. Remember
on your porch. You don't have to.
But you see, listen, Howard, 15 years ago, there was no such thing as an app. Yeah. Today, the app earns more revenue than the movie industry, the radio, music industry. So you have young people now under the age of 15, between 15 and 21, making hundreds of millions of dollars now, never seen before. Apple probably pays out almost $3-4 billion every year just from the app stores for young people who develop apps.
Yeah.
And so while we talk about coming up with a new form of economy, is that the young creative minds who are in the schools now use that talent to come up to solve the problems. Remember now, if you solve a $1 billion problem, you'll become a billionaire. If you solve $1 million problem, you become a millionaire. But if you don't solve no problem, you can stay broke right there.
I like how you guys are even talking, because this sort of also, is that kind of show where you project for the new year, where we are on the eve of that, to say, listen, begin thinking of things like this, begin creating, begin envisioning and imagining, because it's so much that's possible out there. The country is totally in need of a number of new opportunities, like apps, for example, to be able to make things a bit more easy. For example, you heard what's happened with the Junkanoo tickets. Okay, so the app is not in place for iPhone users. Somebody can come up with that and go and present it.
Solve the problem. If you solve a problem, that's where your success lies, in solving problems. And so for me, most of the time in my business, I try to solve problems, whether it be Ebola, whether it be Corona, whether it be whatever the problem is, I try to solve it. And that's how you stay alive.
I don't know, I haven't read the backstory to this particular things, what's coming to the forefront. These are the things I kind of ingested, but I know that for you to be able to create an iOS, an Apple, on the Apple, it takes much longer. So you have to go through a longer period.
Not necessarily. There are different applications.
I did it already.
Hold on.
So I know that it takes a significant time to go through those particular things. But you have to wait for them to be able to give you process back. My entire team, we had to wait almost a month and a half longer than the iOS,
But even if you're talking
than the
about
Android.
Howard, a multi-million-dollar company trying to create this app?
Maybe it's just,
there are different languages called, there's a language called Flutter that you can write in iOS and Android. And now the App Store is a little more technical than the Android store. So if you send an APK, a test APK to be able to look, you can get it easy over an Android, but not on an Apple store. You'll have to push it through Apple system in order for you to be able to test it. And so basically all my systems that we're testing now, we can test them both on Android and Apple. Simultaneously.
Yeah.
But they have to create a working APK for both Apple and Android.
Well, this isn't to make excuses for anyone. This is to say, are we still slaves to this kind of last-minute concept, this last-minute idea? Let's hurry up, push this thing together in the last 2 weeks so before something get done, and then you expect to be able to present something professional to the Bahamian people. So that's a concept. We know that historically, administrations, just doing business in the country has always been this last-minute approach. Is this possibly what we're faced with right now?
Well, we're a third world country, and we seem to like to operate under the third world mindset, where nothing works properly, nothing functions properly, and it seems that we should be fine with that. The only issue is that 30 minutes away from us is a first world country, but most of us go to, and we see how things work. You can go to any event, buy the tickets online, and you can walk right in.
Yeah.
But when you come back home,
except Taylor Swift event the other day for Ticketmaster.
But we have to be able to, whatever we do, make sure that we do it with excellence. And we have to show the rest of the world that, listen, in the Bahamas, whatever we do with excellence. So whether it be Junkanoo tickets, it's seamless, because people don't want to stand in the line. I ain't getting no line. I want to buy it right on my phone.
And walk right in.
And walk right in there and show you
because visitors, and they totally look forward to attending either parade, and especially now that it's back after that 2 to 3 year hiatus, they would want to and not want to come up with all those sort of blockages either.
Yes.
But listen, gentlemen, so here's the official order. By the way, the parades are on, first time in a couple of years, which is so amazing. Many people, but you guys have your tickets, is it?
No, I have an app. No, I just kidding.
So Valley Russian is here.
Don't be quiet. Cassius, let me you leave the Valley. Here's the official order, by the way. Of course, the Saxons is out of the gate first, followed by Roots, then Genesis, One Family, Music Makers, and then Valley Boys. Yeah, absolutely. That answers your question, Cassius. You good.
The last time I was on the show and I mentioned the Valley Boy, when I got in trouble. And so I just don't say Saxons no more, because I know everybody here may be Valley Boys. So I just went along with the flow,
Let me move on to the next. Before.
Did I not get in trouble? How would I got in trouble?
I for an official induction into one of the group, one particular group. I can't call your name because if you ain't coming for me, then we make no sense. They say, Howard, we will make you an official. I said, well, come on, let's go. I'm ready to be inducted into
Well, the jokey group that is the one make you just bring you in and make you an
what
official.
You mean? I said a decent man, praise God.
I rushing in the scrap group this year. Mention it. You're on the headline scrap group.
You're on name.
You're on name.
Do you know?
You're on the headline scrap group. If you want to be a part of the Beyond the Headline scrap group, please call us and let us know. We're putting together our scrap group.
Call us, let us know. Let's just do this thing,
we
okay?
We have fun. We'll be the best group. We may even go into A class.
We'll tag along of the Valley Boys. So, gentlemen, the Road to 50, it was an incredibly amazing event and thing to see on Saturday morning. Roughly 10,000 people, y'all. 10,000 people all dressed in Road to 50 t-shirts in the Bahamian colors, Bahamian flag colors, participated in the Fun Run Walk, the first official event leading up to the country's 50th anniversary of independence. We spoke with Prime Minister Davis and Social Services Minister Obi Wilshcombe before they began the walk.
Yes. Very excited about it. These Bahamians have responded.
This road also reminds us that a healthy people make a healthy nation. And that's why I'm participating in this. So this year we're going to do a major thrust on wellness.
Yes.
And this is the start of it. Yes. Thank you. Please join us. And every day from now on, let's do at least 20 minutes of walking.
Yes. Yes. Very excited about it. I think the Bahamians have responded incredibly well. It tells you that they're too concerned about the health and also the nation.
Yes.
And bringing that together, it's a wonderful conversation for the country we want to see building moving forward.
Absolutely. And so, gentlemen, of course, the Prime Minister and his team made up of Sports Minister Mario Boleg. You saw, of course, Social Services Minister Obi Wilshcombe. There was Lisa Ramming. There was Miles LaRota. There was Zane Lightbourne. They made their way, get this, you heard the Prime Minister say, do at least 30 minutes of walking each day. Well, they walked from Clifford Park to the bridge and back. Y'all can imagine that?
The high five, though.
Dude, that is minimum 5K.
Howard has walked that easily every day in the gym.
That
when
is
I see Howard do 10
Don't tell everybody in the gym until I get cut down. When I cut down and come in on Beyond the Headlines and my singlet, then you can talk.
But I'll tell you,
10 miles every day.
I'll tell you this, I was, both you guys, for all fun and jokes aside, are working out, which is great. I was happy to hear the Prime Minister say that the focus must be leading up to the 50th and beyond health and wellness, and he called on and urged the Bahamian people to put in at least 30 minutes a day. I won't hold my Prime Minister's hand so to ensure he doing that each day. But gentlemen, it's a good message, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good message because, in order for us to have a productive nation, we got to be healthy. In order for us to be healthy, we got to keep moving. And the human body is a very interesting mechanism. It gets stronger the more it's worked, and so we got to work it, but also you got to cut back on eating
the wrong foods.
Too much starch, too much grease, and so do intermittent fastings as well too, so that you can be able to purge your system and let your system regenerate. But I think it's a good step because I believe that our country is very, very sick, as we all know. We have right now the Diabetic Association told me that we have 155,000 plus people with diabetes.
Almost half.
All right.
Our population.
Our population is 3 or 4.
While of course there's a lot of adults, yes, certainly because of the way they've been for years. What's interesting, Cassie, is more and more children are also having. Yeah.
But also too, get this: the number one killer is hypertension, and so you were looking at. But they can't give me the number on how many people with hypertension. But that's another issue as well too. So high blood pressure, diabetes. But we got to be more. We got to get more into exercising, and so we got to. So you can't just say that, let the country get out to exercise one time. That has to be a continuous thing every week to remind people, get up and move, keep exercising. Because people are generally lazy, because I see Howard in the gym now for about a month after.
You need to stop it right now.
You mean you call him out? You mean you call him out?
Every day.
He has not worked out, Cassie.
My wife wouldn't let me go on Sunday. That's it.
I see Howard.
I ain't there Sunday morning.
So Howard, you saying 6 days a week you work out?
How you go on the TV and tell everybody you're in the gym? That's nobody's business.
So
when I come here with my abs, that's me talking.
We want to encourage them to get out in the gym, get out to the gym, exercise, because we need to
get out to the gym, get out and walk, get out in many of these groups that are around.
Precisely.
Let's just do something.
And then you think, I mean, your thought patterns are very clear when you exercise. You're more focused, and your body feels good. And so, you know, my encouragement to everybody, you know, you sit down, you don't just sit down. Get up and walk, join the gym, because that's very, very important.
Even if you move about in your house 3 times a day, 10 minutes at a time, it's something you're doing. Get up and do it. How about you? You feel good enough to add to this, or
absolutely? I you know, in the gym, Cassius, you didn't pull the rug.
I get into the gym right now.
I haven't said anything to anyone. He didn't pull the rug from under me. But I'm out there, out west, in this gym, and they're giving me a great opportunity. It's a nice, free-flow environment. I've done this before. You know, I was always a big fella. People in Grand Bahamas know. I lost a tremendous amount of weight. And then you allow it to creep back on, and you puff right back up when you throw two carbohydrates in your mouth. That's it. Buff. You get right back. You're big weight again. Boom, right? So now it's important for you to be able to recognize that it's not about a diet, right? It's not about being able to just be able to do something short term. I did the Mayo Clinic diet. I would never recommend this to you, right? So now I'm taking on a position and an approach of being able to create a lifestyle. Yeah. So we change the eating pattern, change these particular things, cut out carbs as much as we can, and really go hard as possible in these particular areas.
Well,
but I'm not expert. You can't let me sit down and talk about these things. I'm not expert yet.
You are talking, and you both are, to somebody who is a certified metabolic health trainer, coach rather. And the thing is, you know, come work with me, Howard. Come work with me.
I live all the way out west.
I said come work with me in terms of your eating. Because you've been in the gym all this time. And anyway, let's just...
And don't stop eating the greasy food, Howard. But interesting enough...
Listen, we can make this one, Howard.
If you are eating chicken and fries and you in the gym and still going and eating wrong, okay, that's all I'm saying.
Let me confess, though. When Howard been by me, my house, right? I said, Howard, what you want? Howard wants, he's only eating fish.
I don't eat meat.
So I cook, did I not cook fish for you, Howard?
That's fish fried and flour.
Howard, did I not cook fish for you, Howard? Let the people know.
It was good. It was a good fish. You give me fish and salad.
See, I cook the best fish in the world.
Cassius, you never invited me, but anyways. So Leslie Bryce and her team did an excellent job in pulling off the event. There was a concert, guys. It was really awesome on Saturday morning. There was a concert following the fun run walk. Popular Bahamian artists performed to the delight of the crowds there who did not want to leave. They danced, had fun, sang along, and all the rest of it. Really, really awesome. And so, did you all catch up on anything at all this weekend?
I didn't get a chance to go, but I did get a chance to see the viral videos of my good dear friend Bishop Lawrence Rowe. Praise God for him.
Listen,
the FDX song is an instant classic.
The money
you
gone.
should get a Grammy.
Oh, Lord,
2 Grammys and the granddaddy.
The money gone.
2 Grammys and the granddaddy you should get for that. That was the jam.
What is the song? What's the song?
The money
gone. That was a jam.
That we buy the corned beef, we buy the rice, we buy the tuna. You know, Bishop Rowe. Bishop Rowe, how long did it take you to write that song and come up with it?
He do it on the fly. That's a freestyle.
Oh, Lord, I tell you.
I enjoyed that.
So actually, don't come looking for no money. The money gone.
Oh, Lord.
Just like how you say the money
gone.
gone.
In the first place. That's why you give it to poor people and then come. You can get a hog star on your eye. Stop.
Ain't no money there.
Only in the Bahamas, but people my shade. Anyways, listen, so of course you all know that we're hosting the 50th Carifta Games in April, and of course the country's 50th anniversary of independence in July. So it's a big year on top of the country, a lot to be proud of. Guys, maybe I'll ask you all what you're most proud of when we come back after the break. But listen, don't go anywhere. This is Beyond the Headlines, brought to you by Alive. When we come back, what's happening on the island of Eleuthera with the water supply? We'll talk about it after this. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. Residents on the island of Eleuthera are agitating once again. The water supply is the issue. Reportedly, where there is water, it's salty and rusted. Water and Sewerage is aware of the issue. I was told earlier, I spoke with the manager for the island of Eleuthera, who said the supply to central Eleuthera has been restored, but that there is major work to be done. He then referred me to the general manager for Family Islands to get more information. Well, another general manager that I spoke with, his office also today, promised to get back to us before airtime and did not. And so, gentlemen, let's look at what's been happening on the island of Eleuthera. This issue has been lingering for years now. When do you suppose home and business owners can get lasting relief on that island? I understand San Salvador is also having similar issues, but Eleuthera, this has been long going right now. Cassius, I know that you've spoken with a number of residents there.
And we spoke about this issue the other day on the show. What irritates me is that we talk about this road to 50. And on this road to 50, we can't give people sensible water, you know. And so while we may be glorying that we've been 50 years as an independent nation, we're going to get things right. After 50 years, we still having water problems, electrical problems. We still have, in these family violence. You know, our country has generated billions and billions and billions of dollars, right? The first thing you need to do is you got to provide clean water. You got to provide water for the people. That's a basic need.
It's
right?
a fundamental right and need.
Of
You're
everybody.
right. An essential
Even
service,
the UN has adopted as a fundamental right.
Yeah.
Clean water. And so when these people in Eleuthera are having to bathe with salt water, having to cook with salt water, and now all their fixtures are going to be corroded because that salt is so dangerous, it is a fundamental problem. And so what happens is that you don't know the negative effect of this water that people are now using when they're ingesting it. You know, but also to couple with that, Freeport had the very same problem. San Salvador had the same problem. So why should we be on this road we trod? You know, we still can't get clean water, Mr. Minister, Mr. Government. And so unless we decide to be sensible in our approach to governance, we got to take care of our people. Stop spending money where we don't need to spend money and spend it where we need to spend it. And so if we are subcontracting out to a foreign firm to be able to provide water, cut that out. Water and sewage should be able to man and control all water distribution in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Don't ever turn that over to no private firm. Because if they want to kill us...
Why do you suppose that,
because the best way to kill a country is to poison its water.
Exactly, such as water. Why do you suppose we are sort of subbing it out to a foreign entity?
You know,
is it a reverse osmosis?
I'm sure it's reverse osmosis.
The desalination plant. And so the desalination plant broke down, apparently. And so instead of extracting the salt out of the water, it's not doing that. And so they're probably trying to repair that now. But the issue is that...
So the government of the Bahamas has monies to recoup as a result of this.
Well, I
think we owe the people. So in fact, that's probably why they have not done the process.
Professionalism is professionalism.
Because they figure pay a bill. Howard, listen, let's try, and Cass is jumping after this. Why wait so long, though? See, the reason I ask, Eleuthera is one of those islands, thank God, fortunately, is experiencing an economic boom right now. There's an increase in foreign direct investment, local investment, new homes, second homeowners, and other investments are happening from north to south, particularly in south that has been stagnant for decades. We know that. Why have this essential service lacking right now?
See, when you look at Eleuthera has... You have a nest egg in Harbour Island where you have a lot of investment going on, a lot of homeowners. And right now, deep south, you have the Disney project and all those major projects going on now. But within the base of those two projects, there's nothing going on. Because right now, the way Disney has now carved out their niche, the economic flow is not trickling down to the people in the south. They're not getting it because when they need food, everything is provided for them. When they need housing, so you can't rent no homes from the people in Eleuthera and south no more. And so what happened is the economic model that they sold them on did not materialize. And that's a fundamental problem.
So what you're saying, that Bahamians there who initially were experiencing a wonderful uptick because they were renting their homes to Disney and all the stuff. You're saying Disney pulled back?
Well, what they're doing now is they're creating, my understanding, they're creating their own rental properties where they're doing for their people. And then also to, of course, all the food services should have been, local Bahamians should have been providing that.
I understand that Disney actually put out
But they're providing
certain tenders for
yeah,
that. Didn't
they're providing it everything
to local persons.
Yeah, they're providing everything from there. But the thing about it is that while we have these economic booms on the top and at the bottom, the middle of the Lutra is suffering because really and truly that's where the problem is. Because Disney has their own water, they're not depending on the same water system, they're not depending on this electricity system. The people of the Lutra is the one that suffers. And when you look at Harbor Island, which is perhaps has some of the most expensive real estate in the Bahamas, it's a dump. It's a dump. The roads are messed up. It's not clean, and so.
But they pride themselves in this kind of an interdependent concept. The last time we would have been able to see them agitate significantly to be able to do something is when the Minister of Tourism started to talk about this idea of a cruise ship going out there, and then in 2 seconds flat, they had a town meeting and said, "Nobody, we ain't doing this." You remember that under the last
I remember
regime.
that. Yeah.
So Harbor Island, more specifically, has always, in Spanish Bahamas, has always kind of thrived and speak about this kind of an idea that we can do these things amongst ourselves. So I don't know what this is. We've looked at the former minister, former member of parliament in those particular respects. They got rid of him. And now we're looking at the member of parliament to see whether or not he has the wherewithal to make those particular things happen. Is it just politics?
But then you look at Harbor Island, and the type of people on Harbor Island. During COVID-19, Harbor Island is perhaps the only island that did not see a decline in tourist revenue or any revenue.
No.
Harbor Island is booming straight through.
Yeah.
But at least we should pave the road.
With COVID also. Let's talk about it.
At least we should pave the road. We should make sure that the island is nice. I mean, I drove on Gulf Card the other night, dropping one hole. I thought I'd gone straight down to the bottom of the ocean.
You get to the whole topic real quick, but go ahead.
but you see, the fundamental issue is that, if we're providing a service, right, the product got to be good.
Yeah.
The product is the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Yeah. And you can't offer that product where you get potholes and trash and dirt and dump all over the place.
But let's talk about this value associated with those particular products. The product is only good if the recipient, the customers that you're giving it to, identifies it as a good product. And for the most part, over generations now, we as Bahamian people have been content with whatever we're fed from these particular persons in establishment. We have yet to be able to speak up and out on behalf, professionally. I'm not talking about round in your barbershop. I'm not talking about round in your cubicles. I'm not talking about talking to your auntie on the telephone. I'm talking about being able to go to your member of parliament and etch these things out, being able to send these letters out and stand
That's
and
not
put
the
these in
focus
there.
of Bahamians during the time
But there
that they
is a
have access to their
process.
members of parliament.
There is a process, there is a procedure, there is an approach to be able to do these things. If you're looking at the United States of America, if you're looking at Europe, if you're looking at Canada and elsewhere, and all these jurisdictions for how they do things, you don't understand the steps necessary to get to these things. I like how we talk about these things, but I don't see any formality in this. We have to structure ourselves properly, especially now we're having a conversation about the road to 50. What about the next 50 years? We recognize our trials and tribulations.
But Howard, it's on us. It's on us to mature. If we're on the road to 50 and 50, the Golden Jubilee is next year, well then when are we going to mature?
So
we cannot continue to be looking to the politician
cannot come with
any
this.
government it is to be able to kind of continue spoon feeding us or holding us and saying, come,
But
right here, see it there.
But you just
No,
can't
make
rant.
our way.
There's no expectation for you to just be able to rant like a spoiled, rude child and just and crying for these particular things. There is an approach to take to get what you want to get done.
But see, listen, we have a Ministry of Tourism that sells the Bahamas, right? If you're selling a product to foreigners, right, at least when they come to this to see the product,
have a product that's worthy
the product should
of
be
what
acceptable.
You,
And
Cassie,
so
is
what
it
happened
fair?
is, hold on. There's a value proposition. You know what a value proposition is? In other words, I'm telling you something. Our value proposition is it's better in the Bahamas, right?
Okay,
hold on. It's better in the Bahamas.
But
So
which Bahamas, Cassie?
that's the value proposition is selling.
Which Bahamas?
I don't know. I only know but one.
When we watch those persons from Hawaii start to talk about this paradise that exists in this space, and then they show us how they live, the exact same thing is duplicated here in this country. The fact of the matter is that a great deal of tourists that are coming here, of the tourists that are coming here are going to enclosed environments that significantly over the past 10 years or so, we've seen all-inclusives rise in this country. Not opportunities for you to be able to go out into the community and make things happen.
Howard, I'm not even talking.
When you into these enclosed spaces, it's better in the Bahamas. This piece of the Bahamas, not necessarily the whole thing.
I ain't talking about, East Street and them. I just talking about in the perimeter. You know, Harbor Island, we talking about Harbor Island specific though, but when you're looking at what we're selling to people, we got to be able to offer the best. Because, you know, there should only be one Bahamas. I remember one time we had the Miss Universe people came here, right? And everywhere they went,
I covered that. By
They
the
had
way.
a makeshift they beautified everything, right? And I'm saying, you know, why are you
Listen,
selling them a
matter of
false?
fact,
Why are you selling them a false Bahamas?
Bring them back because when we get to
They
the
did the same thing with the Royals. We sell a false Bahamas
bring
because
the Royals or Miss Universe back because the roads will be fixed like that.
you understand?
immediately.
So that's a false Bahamas. Really and truly, I say to them, now the king coming to the Bahamas, the king coming to the Bahamas 50, right? Hold on now. I don't want you to pave the road for him. Pave it for me.
Well,
Don't pave it for him. Pave it for me.
Hold on. Okay, let me already get to it. Let me just read this right here because then we'll talk about what can be in place for the king and possibly the Prince of Wales.
But listen,
because you know, I'll tell you what the Prime Minister is saying about this whole and I trust me, the water can be fixed, the BPL can be fixed.
I hear Cassie Stewart is here. You want with the king? I want the road fixed for me, Cassie Stewart.
We all
forget
want
the king.
We all desire it.
So, Mr. Prime Minister, I need the road fixed for me.
Just like the last time we've been able to see a significant road work done on west when we go out there just in front of Compass Point and on that particular stretch is when we saw not just the Member of Parliament but the Prime Minister in his particular capacity who had to travail that road every day. Then we saw some reform. All right? So the fact of the matter is that though we talk about Cassie Stewart and we don't have to worry ourselves with the Prince of Wales or whoever the King of Wales or whoever the Royals are, the fact of the matter is that all of us are lumped into one. And we're viewed in the sense of contentment. Well, don't worry about Bahamian people, they can forget.
Yeah.
They can forget about these things. Don't worry about that.
That's just how we are.
That's just what it is. From a
2 minutes.
political standpoint, from a governmental standpoint, from an administration standpoint, we know that you have the ability to be long-suffering. That's it.
And people only allowed to get away because we tolerate
Members
it.
of Parliament are lumped into the exact same thing.
Because we tolerate it.
That's it.
We tolerate it, and that's why we're able to get away with it.
We tolerate it because
if we stop tolerating it, they can't get away with it.
The only approach that we take in our tolerance is, you know, these people make me so sick with these roads. You see, my God, I almost dropped my whole car and
Listen
I had
to
to
me,
pay for
but
And guess what is the second largest revenue generator for the government?
What is?
Road traffic department. Fix my road, man.
Listen, because in the state of Florida, let's just deal with the state of Florida. Every time you land there, there's roadworks going on.
All
so
the
obviously,
time.
Because
their Department of Motor Vehicle is doing something with the money that's coming in.
But what I'm saying is, you have revenue generation from cars coming into the country, right? Whether it's inspection or whatever, right? If that's the second largest revenue generator, you can't then say you can't fix the road for the cars to drive on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You can't
Charles,
do that.
listen, y'all. So let me just wrap up this water situation. Matter of fact, we have
So
to
fix the
continue.
water
We
for
have to
people who
continue
drink.
looking at it, right?
Yeah.
So Beyond the Headlines understands that North Eleuthera MP Sylvanus Petty distributed hundreds of bottles of water and used the tankering water to bring relief to some customers in the area. Water was also taken to residents with special needs, including the elderly. We understand. And so, gentlemen, of course, team in the back, the production team, do I continue going on or do we take a break? Because we're going to shift to the roadworks in a minute, but let me know if I take a break or not. Meantime, as they are letting me know exactly, right here. So, Cassius, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, listen, y'all. You all drove around Nassau recently? No, seriously, like drive. Especially if it was flooded and you don't know what was under that part where it was flooded. Okay, we can talk about the roads, the condition of the roads right after this. Stay close. Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. If you've driven the streets of New Providence anytime in recent months, you'll know it's more like an obstacle course. Potholes, huge potholes, some the size of mini pools. Is that an exaggeration? I don't know. They litter the roads. Last week I drove in an area where there were two side by side, and because I was unfamiliar with the road and it was flooded, I didn't even know. Didn't I have a surprise, guys? I'm telling you this. And so I'm getting somewhere. Yeah, I'll let them talk in a minute, but I'll tell you this. The good news is Prime Minister Davis has announced that there will be a major roadworks project in New Providence in 2023. Gentlemen, how relieved are either of you to hear this news? Because what's been your experience driving?
Listen, I told Howard, he said he want to get a truck. I said, you need a dump truck.
No, I have a truck.
You need a dump truck to drive on these roads because, it's like a whole crater where a meteorite fall. That's what you got to drive through.
A meteorite.
And guess what? Where the Prime Minister lives and where the Governor General lives, there's two big holes by super value. And I sure both of them fall on that before. For them to get home, there's two big holes
Surely
by
the
super
Prime
value.
Minister can't be driving through these potholes.
Listen, I telling you, for him to get home, he got to pass that way. For the Governor General to get home, they got to pass that way. And two big holes in the road. And I say, listen, we got to take pride in ourselves. We can't go talking about 50 years and on the road we trod and we got potholes here. We can't fix the water there. We got to get it together, guys.
You better hush before BPL hear you.
BPL, I don't care who
Fear left out.
BPL, drop that electricity bill too wild, all that. Because, on the road to 50, we're supposed to feel glorious. Everybody's sad because the water bill, the people in Lucha sad because they got to bathe in salt water, they might still go on the sea. Freeport the same way. You got potholes all over the place. And so with 50 we glorifying, listen, let's get it together, guys. We got to get it together. Let's build a nation together. Grab the brightest minds so that we can fix these problems. I know some of the people who may, around the table can't add value, but we need to add value so that the next 50 years we don't have the same struggle again and again and again.
I got a couple of things I want to say about it. The last time we would have been able to have a conversation is when the Royals were in town about the roads, and the roads was, I think, paved overnight. You remember that? Instantaneously.
It's possible.
And then we started to agitate and have conversations in the local talk show space. And we would have heard one of the representatives say, well, we have annually, we have an allotment of, I don't want to misquote the figure, but I think it was about $10 million annually, the allotted to be able to ensure that you can be able to rectify these issues.
Where does that go?
Right? And so we started to do some numbers and say, you haven't done the road X amount of years, you owe us some money, right? But the fact of the matter is that this only reminds me of 2011. This reminds me of 2011 in this country. Now, being from Grand Bahama, I know Cassie is called Grand Bahama, but the truth of the matter is that the Port Authority takes care of Freeport. And, the outskirts, we don't have many issues. If there's any issues, MPs tend to take care of those particular things. And I've been home for a little while, so don't fight me. But the truth of the matter is that in 2011, when we saw the former Prime Minister, Hubert Ingraham, take on an approach to shift everything, it was a humongous uproar. Big row, how y'all could do this, how y'all could do that, all these particular things. I was then running for the DNA, you remember this. Cassie still won't talk about this. I was running for the DNA at this particular time.
What you doing there?
Right? You see what you mess, right? Right? Running for the DNA at that time, and in Central Grand Bahama, I got a call from the head. In Nassau, I was running against my good cousin, Nico Grant. Nico, good evening, my brother. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're well. And he says to me, Howard, write an article on Nico Grant, who was the then Minister of Works. But the fact of the matter is this. What that got to do with me? All the way from Grand Bahama, I ain't got nothing to do with this. Come here in Nassau, and I recognize one thing. Y'all don't need to row about it when it starts. You need to row about it and make noise about the inconvenience associated with it because you wake up too late and all these things. Is there any true satisfaction for the Bahamian people?
Can I add something, Shanique, right quick, right? Let me show you what happens, right? So a political party wins, and then all of a sudden somebody pops up and says, oh, I want a contract to fix road. I never fixed a road in my life. But because I'm a part of the political party, we give them the contract to fix the road, right? They ain't know what the hell they doing, right? They slap some tar on the road, right? 2 weeks later, we got to go do it again. The point I'm trying to make is that when we spend these millions of dollars on these companies who are paving this road, we need a warranty on this road. They got to last at least about 5-10 years.
But maintenance, man,
But you see,
because the wear and tear,
You're getting deep.
that'll
Hold on,
happen.
hold on.
Just maintain the roads.
Well, we need a warranty because if they just slap it down the road and then after you drive and the water hits and you get potholes, we can't go back and pay for that again. All because you want to give your political party people some little. Don't do that.
I want to
Fix the road properly.
I want to add to this, okay? Just because I believe in steps and the approach of being able to take these things. When I moved here to the city, and the major thoroughfares were paved and it looked beautiful and people were moving about the city, and then you see water and sewage come and cut the road open, right? And they had to go fix it.
That's
what
not
in
so
the
sad.
world are you doing?
I don't know if that happens in Freeport, but that's
78 fellas around one hole and the middle of the road for 3 weeks. I can't understand these things.
And then they half patch
I
it
believe
back
that
up.
There needs to be intercommunication within the departments that whenever you tackle these particular things, that we can knock everything out one time.
You asking too much.
I want to see what's going to happen in Village Road.
I want a warranty when we spend this money in 2023 on these roads. We should not be arguing with this for
Cassie,
another
is this a
5,
heavy
10
thing
years.
you should say?
Listen, I don't care because where do you think the money coming from? We paying our taxes. And so you can't tell me in 2024 we need to pave the road again. Because that's what's happening.
Well, the world
because
game,
we give them blight to our political members and so on so that they can fix the road. They know what the hell they do want to fix the road, but we give it to them. Find a company that can fix the road and get a 10-year warranty on the roads. Or else we want our money back, we're taking them to court. In fact, Shanique, when I was in university, we did a case, a case in law class that there was a car that went into this pothole and damaged their vehicle. And the company then, the individual was able to sue the state for damages.
So there should be a class action suit against them.
Listen. We got to sue. No, see, if the government needs to change, if they want to do better, then we got to put pressure on them. So if we sue them, then they can do it again.
So this is formality. We're going right back to it. This is a formal approach of being able to shake up the powers that be to ensure that we can rectify these issues. This isn't a casual conversation. If you're going to talk about being able to approach this from a legal perspective, everybody got to come together collectively.
You know much cars I see on the road with the axle bent up because they didn't drop in too many bottles.
But they can't pay for it. They pay for it.
Yeah, we pay for it and just and
no
grumble and
one's saying nothing.
No, grumble and complain and pay and keep
That's all I say.
it.
No, and the government doesn't pay. The government doesn't. But then you try to go back to them and say, listen, you're responsible for the roads. We pay for registration. In fact, let me show you how gangster it is, right? So if you register your car, you didn't register your car for 2 years because it was off the road.
You back pay.
Back pay, you pay to be on the road.
You got to pay for the years you wasn't on the road.
You understand? That's criminal. You pay to be on the road, not to have a car.
On the road this year.
Hold on, I don't pay. But you see, but nobody challenges them. You see, you can't charge the people for not being on the road.
That's for your license.
Your license is for you to operate on the road.
Yeah, I don't
but
get
if your
why you
car's
have to pay.
not
Why
on
you
the
got to
road,
back pay for your license?
why are you back paying and why you back? But nobody challenges them. Let's challenge them now. Let's take them to court. Because you can't charge me if my car is down for 2 years. I couldn't get it fixed. When I decided to get a license, you would charge me for 2 years of registration? That's not fair.
It's
and
the
that's
Bahamas,
not right.
man. It's the Bahamas.
No. But we got to challenge them.
But that sentiment that you say in jest, Shanique, is a sentiment that exists in our country. Well, this is Bahamas. There is a subconscious expectation of this lackadaisical approach.
No. The road traffic. Let me tell you something. The deputy director and the director of road traffic, they are decent people. They are just trying to work within the system that they're in.
Who's the minister?
Who's the minister of Jobeth Colby?
Jobeth, fix that, please. We need that fixed. You cannot charge your citizens for not being on the road. And I know you may not have known this, but listen, we got to fix that. We need to fix that now because that is not fair. That is criminal. The government cannot be engaged in criminal activities. That is criminal.
Gentlemen, I tell you this, but of course, Jobeth met that system in place,
so she can fix it.
So okay, fine, she
so
can fix it. She's the policy maker. Okay, fine. Gentlemen, let's talk about the cost of food as we head into Christmas.
Again?
I know, yes. Rupert Roberts today is saying, listen y'all, before y'all get real excited and go and run crazy elsewhere, understand what you in store for when you do make it to the food store. Higher prices, oil, eggs. By the way, you guys can find eggs.
I bought some eggs. I told you I bought some eggs from my guys on Cowpen Road.
You bought it from the farm.
You gotta give the people the location so they can buy eggs too, because everybody looking for eggs.
They sponsoring the show. They sponsoring the show.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. On Cowpen Road, they ain't sponsoring me either. I got to pay for my eggs, right?
Listen,
car main
but all
road.
we can say is the farmers
It's only
market.
one car main road.
So good luck.
You find it there.
Listen though. First of all, there is an egg shortage, like shockingly so. Especially looking for organic egg and stuff. Like you can't find them at all, right? So, but Rupert Roberts is saying what? Oil, eggs, mayonnaise is super high. Or overall, how about turkey? Anybody bought turkey recently?
I saw $150 price on one turkey.
Well, how big is that? How big is that?
No, it's regular size on organic turkey, $150.
They slap organic on
You know,
anything.
and look like we're getting back to the days of lad because I mean the oil price.
No, well,
how you ever eat lad before?
My Grammy, it's a 41-year-old man. My Grammy used to do these things. Right? My Grammy granddaddy.
You ain't no real behavior.
Anyway, what's all this?
Use a contemporary behavior. You ain't never cook with no lad before.
No, what you mean? So
you ever put it in your head too?
No way, right? So to Rupert Roberts' position, when he started to be able to speak to the fact that he said that the prices you could expect when you come into the stores are the same prices that you met there in Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
There's not going to be any fluctuation.
No.
You're going to find expensive mayonnaise. We have to use an off-brand mayonnaise. Talk to me when I say had to use, right? You know. You like your little...
You trying to say you couldn't afford because
you like your little tuna.
Your tuna, but your helmets.
I see some soya. I didn't even know who the soya fella was. I said, soyas?
Let me put extra lime on that.
Soyas? I'm sure it's a short, right? Yeah, because helmets is too expensive. The oil is too much. So I just want to be able to say that out there. So just to Rupert Roberts' position. And guys, I think if we're so steeped in this kind of an idea of tradition and doing the same thing, sometimes you have to be able to step in an unfamiliar space to be able to enjoy what you're doing. Let's just do that, right?
Bring back the laugh.
So maybe you don't get turkey, but you know, Cornish hen or chicken, the whole chicken will do fine.
But Shanique,
I think we should be able to celebrate.
The turkey breast.
Shanique, but also too, shipping prices is back to normal. So it was. I told
so
you,
then it's the supply then, because what's driving the cost of food now? If shipping prices are back to normal.
20-foot container. Last time we talked was 25,000. They're back down to 3,000 now. So significant savings. So don't use the shipping as
an excuse, as a reason for this high cost.
So we know
what
that
is
the
it?
shipping crisis
now he
is
did
back
say
to normal.
quality. I'm not sure what that means. Now there are shortages still in the United States. So there are shortages of eggs, turkeys in certain jurisdictions, and so who knows what's
causing
chicken
on strike.
What on strike? The chicken on strike?
Chicken on strike.
These fast food restaurants with these big chicken sandwiches, that's what's going on. I think they hijacking all the chicken. But listen, gentlemen, thank you both very, very much. Shay, shop smartly as you move forward. And by the way, you need to, use your stamps, do whatever. Start stocking up on some stuff as well.
Don't be ashamed. And before you go, listen, I want anyone to go and sponsor me and Shanique, the Beyond the Headlines scrap group. Shanique is our lead dancer. And if anybody want to dance with Shanique in our scrap group, let us know. Come on now, we got to hurry get the enrollment before time for Junkanoo. And if you want to sponsor, be a
Should
sponsor.
they put all the information on the
app?
app?
I would be quiet, man. Let me do the commercial.
Should it be on the app? Should they fill out the information on the app?
So Shanique is the lead dancer, and we're looking for additional dancers. So come on and be a part of the Beyond the Headlines scrap group gang, and we also need sponsors. So we need ESO to sponsor us.
That's right. We need major sponsors.
Major sponsors. We're not no jokey sponsors. Major sponsors. So listen, we can have some fun.
The best looking scrap group there is.
$5 gas sponsor, right?
Listen, gentlemen, I thank you both very, very much for your insight, your perspectives, your opinions on today's biggest stories. Certainly looking forward to seeing you both again later in the week. And thank all of you for tuning in. Listen, don't go anywhere. Your Minute of Inspiration with Mount Tabor Church is straight ahead.
What else is faith?
Evidence
of what?
Things not seen.
Right now, with the thing not manifested yet, people like you should have evidence. Where is the evidence? Hidden in your substance. Because you know, if God put it in your spirit, your faith has enough power in it to pull it from the spiritual realm into the physical realm. Can somebody say amen right there? You Because you are what faith is. You are substance. Faith is substance. You are spirit. Faith is a living spirit. I want to make sure before I demit office here at the end of the year, I'm leaving behind a faith-filled congregation. All they need God to do is say something. And when God says it, that's substance. And you will hold on to what God says until you see the evidence in your hand.
By the way, on Wednesday, my special guest is Bishop Neil Ellis. Of course, you know, the official retirement service is on Sunday. So Wednesday, he spends the evening with us. Any questions?
My good Bishop, praise God for him, Bishop.
Can he shut up? That's what I'm wondering, yeah. So that's Wednesday, and so certainly looking forward to that. Well, that does it for our show this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. We certainly enjoyed having you hang out with us for the last hour. We look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.
The Verizon Media Group, home of ILTV, Paramount Systems Limited, Eyewitness News, and Beyond the Headlines.